Welcome back to the first of many in the Turnbuckle podcast. This week, we're going to go through Smackdown in a bit. There's a lot of wrestling news, WWE news, to talk about. First things first, let me welcome my tag team partner, Mr. Andy Burrows. Evening, sir.
Good evening, my friend. How the devil are you on this Monday mo evening? I know you said morning. I don't know what time it is. I've been up many hours.
I was going to say, a little dicky bird tells me that Washington won a game of football.
Yeah, it's first playoff win since 2005, my friend. Yeah, we're still alive. That's why I'm a bit. I don't know what's going on today. I woke up at booked the day off. Woke up at half 11, 12. Been recording a few podcasts, etc. But yes, we beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers literally with the last kick of the game. So any NFL fans out there will know that Washington have not been very good for a number of years. But my God, are we good this season?
So the Washington are the American version of Tottenham.
Yeah, pretty much, mate. We are a lot of people, Washington Hotspurs, I used to like to call us. But yeah, no, we played really well last night. I just sat down with Richard Graves this afternoon, broadcaster that we all know here in the UK, done stuff with Sky Sports now with NFL Network, etc., and recorded a little episode with him due to drop on Wednesday. But yeah, it's been a busy old day, mate, being a Commanders fan. But I'm pleased to sit down and talk some wrestling.
Yes, and there's a lot to discuss. I mean, there's a lot to discuss that's happened today. I mean, literally Monday. Raw is coming on in a few hours' time, and this will drop today. So it's kind of fitting that we talk about it. Raw's going to drop. Raw's going to be on Netflix in a few short hours. Let's talk about the first thing which happened today, and I must say I found this. I don't know if I found it funny or annoying, but the WWE shop tweeted out. Buy your Penta shirts. Buy your Penta
Whoopsie.
masks. No, it was legit, and I think that wasn't even a mistake. By the sounds of it now, because there's a lot. I've seen it everywhere, so it wasn't just a alt shit I've pressed at send, so to speak. It was a legit tweet, Penta about Penta. Um, I don't know. Part of me was like, yeah, that's fine. We knew it was anyway. Is this just to sort of get people to watch Raw? Are WWE kind of thinking, shit, there might be a big drop off. Let's kind of put this out there so people watch.
Yeah, I mean, I think there'll be a little drop off anyway from last week because when you're advertising The Rock and etc. on your show, you're always going to get people that tune in and don't usually maybe watch wrestling on Netflix etc. But yeah, it's probably like a smart move, really. Yeah, I mean, gone are the days of kayfabe and hit like news that we don't know and we're surprised. The world and his wife knows that Penta has signed with WWE. So yeah, it's probably a little bit of a smart strategic play really from the WWE. Like we kind of know that he's going to be fighting Chad Gable tonight on Raw. We said last week that we hoped he's kind of up near the semi like main event. I think it'll probably be match of the night. I think it's quite a smart move from WWE because now people, if they were umming and ahhing whether they were going to tune in, we'll probably tune. I still think the figures will be in the millions. I think they're still riding off that wave of last week's Raw.
Talking about the match, we both expect it to be banger. I had this horrible thought earlier on today. Now that they put the cat out of the bag, could they do the dirty on Chad Gable and have Penta go over in a glorified squash?
Oh, they could do like a quick high flying 5 minute. They hit all their moves, wham bam, thank you, ma'am, kind of match. I'm hoping that's you might be right. I mean, they could do. I mean, I'm hoping they're not. I think it's going to be incredible either way they do it. I hope they get given a good 20 minutes, 25 minutes to really get into what is a great match. And then obviously they need to set something up for Penta moving forward. I'm hoping what doesn't happen is that he comes in and then that bubble like immediately bursts.
Yeah.
If we've been there before with people that have come up from NXT. We've been there with people going over to AEW and stuff like that, and coming to WWE, vice versa. So, look at like I think things like Offspring and things like that, and you build up these characters and you think they're going to do great for a company, and then you just book them in a terrible storyline. I'm hoping that doesn't happen with Penta. I think tonight's going to be great. Let's just hope he doesn't get lost in the shuffle of, well, he's going to be like a modern day Rey Mysterio kind of thing. If they use him and use him right, and put him in a good storyline, you could get God knows how many bangers of matches out of him. I think it's going to be really good. But yeah, to answer your question, I hope they don't. But if they do, as long as they hit everything and you're just like, wow, as long as it leaves you wanting more, I mean, they could set something up for Saturday night's main event in 2 weeks. Who knows?
You're leading that on actually, and I wasn't sure what excuse me, I wasn't sure what order to do this in, but you've said the word Saturday night's main event, so I'm gonna roll on with that. Obviously, that's in 2 weeks.
Hmm.
They have announced another two more Saturday night's main events, and one of them in particular I need to discuss with you. There was one in May, coming up in May, and then after that, there's one on July 12th. Now, those wrestling fans out there, maybe not so much you, because I know you don't watch AEW, will know that is exactly the same day at exactly the same time as All In Texas.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Imagine if Saturday night's main event got more ratings than one of your biggest pay-per-views of the year.
It's going to be interesting because obviously, I don't know, it's going to be like people that pay. Obviously, people have got to pay to watch that. So the ratings will be a bit skewed. But my question being at this point though, can you see WWE loading the fuck out of that card just to kind of see what
Yeah.
happens?
Yeah, and why not? Why wouldn't you? It'll
Yeah.
just be another kick in the balls to AEW. They'll just be saying, we're putting up our quote unquote weakest show, pay-per-view wise ish. It's not pay-per-view really, but you get what I'm saying. We're putting up our weakest live event against probably your biggest live event, and let's see what happens. I think it'll be. You could probably put Speed up against AEW at the minute, and it would win. To be honest, I mean that's on Twitter for 5 minutes. You're right there, mate. You could probably put that up against AEW, and that would win. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. The interesting thing I've noticed about this coming Saturday night's main event. Have you still seen that they're rolling Hogan out advertising it? I don't know if that's because that's already
Yeah.
filmed, but surely they're not going to be stupid enough to have him on this event.
No, they won't. They won't. Although there's no matches been announced yet.
No, I haven't. I guess we're going to. It's the thing is because it's the week before the Rumble. I think this is going to be another very
Filler.
setty up kind of show. I think you're probably going
Yeah.
to get promos. So they're probably not going to risk Cody or like Kevin Owens wrestling. You'll probably get some maybe good like in-ring promos, or you might get like a run-in or a squash or something like that. It'd be interesting to see I think the main event will probably something to do with Drew McIntyre and maybe someone of the bloodline and
Mm.
the new bloodline. Sorry,
Yeah.
I think it'll be of that ilk, and then you'll probably have like the God knows how many women's belts you've got now. You can defend a couple of them on Saturday night's main event. I think it'll be good. I think this will be again. This will be what Saturday night main event was when me and you were growing up. I don't sit here and think, oh my God, it's not. It's not of a SummerSlam or a Mania or a Survivor Series. It never is. It never will be like that. Saturday night's main event was always a quick get in, get out, tell a story, boom, move on. And it's for the TV networks. It's always been that way. But yeah, I think it'll be good. The week before the Rumble as well. So it's going to set something up.
Yeah, they've got to build something towards, haven't they? That's the
Mm.
whole point of that. Speaking of the Rumble, and we were talking last week about Cena being advertised and Roman Reigns obviously coming out, advertising CM Punk coming out and advertising the fact that they're going to be in it. Since then, they have sold over 3,000 tickets. So over 53,000 people are going to be there. But does that show you still, excuse me again, the pulling power that John Cena and co still possess, even at the back end of their subsequent careers?
Yeah, they're gonna he'll have pulling power. It'll be he's in that ilk now of if you bring an Austin back, if you bring a Rock, if you bring a Taker, if Triple H ever done something like I know he had that altercation with Kevin Owens.
Mm.
He's of that ilk now. And again, I've never been his biggest fan wrestling wise, but he deserves it. He's earned it. He's never really let the company down. He's of that ilk now that will the newer generation. We mentioned all the time. We grew up in an era of Hogan, Austin,
Yeah.
Warrior, Rock. There are people that
Sean
literally,
Mooney.
yeah, Sean Mooney. Oh, I wonder what he's doing these days. Let's find out soon. We grew up in that era, and there are people now that I know. A couple of guys that religiously John Cena fans. They grew up with him. To them he is and always will be the GOAT.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's earned that right. And again, we touched on it on the last episode whether they whether they let him win the Rumble, but is that the way they go creatively? He's gonna win the title eventually this year. It's just where, how, and why it happens. I haven't quite figured out, but I don't think it's the Rumble. But yeah, he's earned the right to ride off into the sunset on his horse. Let enjoy this year, and I think he will stick to his word. This will be the last year that he won't be doing a Ric Flair. When you sent me that text the other day saying apparently Ric Flair might be, and I was like, no, surely not. We won't get that from Cena. This will be it. He may special guest referee every now and again. He may give a few, the odd move at an event, but this will be it. This will be done, and he's earned the right to ride out into the sunset.
Yeah, certainly so. And him and Punk have just proved what exactly, they've still got the power to sell some tickets for
Yeah, they're
sure.
draws, mate. They're draws. Punk gets a lot of sticks. Is Punk in the same conversation as probably Hogan, Michaels? I said, well, Hogan, maybe not anymore, but Shawn Michaels, Triple H, The Rock, and God, all the Bret Hart, all these guys. Is he in that conversation? For me, and I mean literally just below it.
Yeah, yeah.
Haven't quite got him on that
Yeah, it's not that
Rushmore.
not that level. No.
He's not on that Rushmore kind of level. But for me, if you had to, book a card underneath them guys,
Yeah.
it'd always be in the main event.
Absolutely. No, I agree with that. And look, no matter what happened at AEW, the guy seems to be enjoying himself with what he's doing. There's been no quote unquote backstage people. No one's fearing for their lives on WWE
No.
TV or anything
And
like
that's
that. So
testament to what Paul Levesque's doing and how he's running a company.
exactly that. Exactly what I was going to get out. So you took my words out of my mouth there. Speaking of, well, going back to pay-per-views, yet another bit of news that come out today from Bad Bunny. Backlash 2025 emanating from Mexico.
That's going to be incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. I mean, I'm a little disappointed not going back to France again
Yeah.
after
Well, they're
last
doing
year's.
tours though, aren't
They're
they?
doing tours, but that for me, that was probably the atmosphere of the year. And I'm including WrestleMania and everything in that. For me, that France show was,
Yeah.
but that
Oh.
Mexico show is going to be unbelievable. The fans there are probably as passionate as we are over here. I'd say us, Mexico, and Canada for me. And I know a lot of people listening in the States will not like me saying that, but I think we're the three best fan bases in the world. And you can slowly probably push France into that after what I saw last year. But the Mexico show, mate, yeah, I'm all in for it.
Penta in that one.
100 main event,
He's got to be, and he's got to be doing something.
100%. They're stupid if they don't.
Yeah, exactly that. Now,
Bad Bunny
going
in his
back,
corner.
who?
Bad Bunny in his corner.
Oh, Bad Bunny. Yeah, of course. Bad Bunny does want to wrestle again, though, so that's an interesting, yeah, we're looking at it. But one last piece of news before we get into SmackDown. Again, this is AEW related, but more so for WWE. So, the artist formerly known as Aleister Black, Malachi Black, over the last 2 years, he's been leaving AEW. This week, the news come out again that he's finished up with AEW. Actually, done an independent show Saturday or Sunday this week. But this is the first time that AEW this week incorporated the fact that he's potentially left into a storyline. Not only did they do that, they had Ospreay kind of he beat Buddy Matthews. He praised him and sort of said, you should be a leader. Copeland done it to Brody King. Julia Hart had an interview and basically wished him well. Or it's seemingly obvious that he's going to potentially be coming back to WWE. It won't be in time from the Rumble, from what I recall. But having said that, we've seen this before. The worst that we saw of him was when he was in the main roster. In NXT, he was great, got called up. And that was kind of still with the Triple H ill Kenny. He's still not got for me that whole call up bit right. There's still a lot missing there.
Hmm.
Is Aleister Black, Malachi Black coming back to WWE a good thing for him? Or do you think perhaps a TNA might have been a better option?
Oh, TNA would have been a great shout. But everyone wants to play in the NBA. Everyone wants to play in the NFL. Everyone wants to play in the Premier League. You want to play where in the best arena, the best company in the world, the best company for professional wrestling easily is WWE. So it's what they do with him, how they do with him. There's no reason why they can't bring him back and put him in NXT.
Mm.
because that is truly incredible right now. So would it? And again, we've said this many times over the last few weeks since we've been doing this. NXT isn't a step down anymore. It's
No.
not. It's on the same ilk as Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. That it's on that level now. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with him. They've obviously got ideas what they would do with him. Like you say, it's going to be too early for the Rumble, so that means that you're leading up to Elimination Chamber, and then you're leading up to Mania, yada yada yada. Does he is he a surprise entrant to like a battle royal at Mania, or is he something like that? But it's a risk for him to come back because I think TNA would be good for him. But does he see it as well? Look, if I get you don't get a chance to go and play for Man City and end up signing for Stockport.
Mm.
So if you get the chance to come back to the WWE, you come back and you take it and you see what you can do.
Yeah, we will find out as well as early as February, March time. I believe
Mm,
that's when he's
yeah.
due in. So we'll find out. We'll find out if it's all true. It could be a smokescreen. We don't know. It's not the first time Malachi Black has been leaving AEW, but this time it does actually look like he is. Getting to SmackDown now, the commentary team had changed. So we've got the Raw commentators coming over. So Barrett and Joe, fuck knows what his last name is.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, I wanted to make a note about this because I think it's time that people started giving flowers to Corey Graves. Now, Corey Graves went
Back to
down to
NXT.
NXT. He
Mm.
went down to NXT. He's doing that until McAfee has to go away. Then he's going to go back to Raw, and assuming he goes back down to NXT when McAfee's back. But he has become, in my opinion, WWE's MVP of commentary because whenever they've needed somebody, whenever they're in the shit or something's happened, someone's not available, he's their man. And I just think that they need to, or not just they, potentially other people need to start giving him his flowers a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, what you've got there is just a company guy, and
Yeah.
we've had that for a long time now within WWE. You look at Michael Cole, you look at etc. etc. But yeah, I think Corey's incredible. I love what he does. I love his work, and yeah, he's going back to NXT. He's only back there by McAfee. The college football season's finished. McAfee was always
Yeah.
coming back. It was never up for discussion really.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it can only be good for NXT. I mean, a lot of people I read online as well, a bit like yourself, probably that, oh, is it a downstep that he's not going to be on Raw or SmackDown anymore? No, I don't see it as that. I see it as fair play. Oh, you get to hear him on NXT. Great at what he does, great at his craft. Considering someone had to give up wrestling so young,
Mm.
full kudos to him, mate. I absolutely love the guy. I think he's brilliant.
He is great. But let's get involved with SmackDown. SmackDown started with Paul Heyman, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, Paul Heyman come out to ringside. He discussed Roman Reigns winning back the fucking Oompa Loompa or La Fala, whatever you want to call it,
The
on
Oompa
on
Loompa.
on Raw. Cody come out, Kevin Owens. We're getting the Bloodline come out minus Solo, which was interesting for the first time. Solo's back this coming week. His first 3 hour SmackDown as well. We'll get into that in a minute. It all just eventually just kicked off, didn't it? And then with these guys setting up a little bit later on. What do you make of Solo not being there? Are we making more into that than what we should be?
Yeah, I think it's probably just a little bit of a build. They're probably still trying to figure out what they're going to do with Roman and where he goes, and are they actually done with that storyline, that arc? They could potentially finish something off at Saturday Night Main Event if they wanted to make that. If it is going up ahead against AEW, why not throw a little match in there between Roman and Solo, a little rematch, not for the Ula Fala or the Lumpa Lumpa, whatever you like say, whatever it is. Potentially could do that. But yeah, this was your typical wrestling 101. Let's start a new arc and let's set up what we want to set up. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. What is interesting is this kind of whole this bloodline storyline that's been arcing from 2020 seems to have evolved, and everyone seems to be okay with it, which I think is a good thing because we were all worried about WWE and where they
Yeah.
go with it. But now with the whole Netflix and that everything, it just seems to have been wrestling like we know it. Storylines evolve, storylines start, storylines continue. They can end for a couple of years and you can pick them up, etc. This is pro wrestling. I think what's been good about what they've done with SmackDown and what they've done with like the old bloodline, new bloodline is that the years and years of work, they haven't quite finished it yet. It's not complete
Mm.
for me, and I'm interested to see what they do.
Yeah, me too. Be interesting to see how they get along when say Solo's back next week.
Yeah, he's back. Yeah, I think he's advertised for SmackDown any next week.
Yeah,
So
he is. Yeah, he's back this week, so I'm sure we'll find out there. But it did set up a tag match for later on: Jimmy Uso, Cody against the Bloodline, which we'll get into. Chelsea Green, Me Chin kicked off SmackDown match wise. It was okay. It weren't special. I mean, you knew Chelsea Green was going to win. There was never in doubt that Me Chin wasn't going to win this one. Chelsea was never going to drop the belt so early. But with that though, I do see Me Chin as a champion going forward though.
yeah, I think she's got potential. I mean, a lot. The women's roster at the minute, and bear in mind this is before Becky and everyone else. I know we're going to get into that later. This is before they all come back. Is really strong across the board. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, etc., etc. Really, really strong. So yeah, going to be a future champion. It was a solid start to the show. I like the show that it had. It was a lot of wrestling on it.
Yes.
And pro tip for anyone listening to this: if you don't watch it live, it's fantastic when you rewatch it the next morning because it literally just rolls. There's no adverts. There's no "we'll be back soon" on Netflix. You literally, I loaded it up. I watched quote unquote 3 hours, albeit without the adverts, and I was done. It was really good. But yeah, solid start to the show, mate. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do with these women's titles now because I know tonight on Raw, me and you recording this on a Monday, that the Intercontinental title is gonna be crowned tonight on a Monday Night Raw. So you're going to have that. Then, do we get to a stage where it's title versus title? There's going to be the women's tag team. Do we get again a women's only pay-per-view? Do we get a women's show? So much potential for what WWE could do with the women's division. But it was a great start to SmackDown. I really liked SmackDown this week.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I wasn't sure about the 3 hours at first, but as
A
you
lot
say,
of people, did
Netflix.
you watch it live? Because a lot of
No,
people, oh, okay. Because a lot of people that I've heard, I saw on Twitter and I went on Facebook, everyone was like, I can't do that with the ads. It was like watching it on YouTube. But then I was sitting there thinking, I woke up on Saturday morning, put my football was called off. It was freezing cold outside. I wasn't doing it. Watched the whole quote unquote 3 hours, which was cut down to a couple of 2 and a bit hours because
yeah.
there was no real adverts. But I know a lot of people, that seems to be the only downside to not a downside, but the only complaining point that people have got with Netflix is that they're still quote unquote ads, even though they're not what we know as adverts. I don't know, but you didn't watch it live anyway, so
No, 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 I wasn't watching it live. The interesting match that was next, Los Garza, pretty deadly. I didn't know Los Garza had turned face. So I don't know where if I missed that somewhere. Not quite sure where that happened. Pretty deadly was out as well. I actually like them. I actually thought the match was good. What I think SmackDown for 3 hours is hopefully going to do is give TV time to more people that need it, and
hmm
so we get more people. We watch good more as long as it's wrestling wise, matches wise. This was really good. I really like this. I didn't realize how strong Angel was. Angel Garza. You've got quite a bit of strength around it where he's, nossing it, tossing around there pretty deadly. Did find it funny when Kit Wilson was yelling for DIY to come and help them during this match. But Los Garza picks up the victory, seemingly turned face with Santos and Elektra at ringside. Is this tag team division, are they going to start taking it seriously now? They've got the likes of the Guns and DIY in there.
yeah. Again, this is going to get back to what we know as tag team wrestling, and like you say, it's SmackDown staying. Did me and you? Did you say SmackDown's going?
Till June at the moment.
So you've got a fair amount of time then. You could really have some absolute, you need to feel free. Well, again, this is what I liked about SmackDown. They had 3 hours of TV. They didn't just block the first 45, 50 minutes to an hour with promos. And they'd done a little recap on Raw, but they just got into wrestling. And that's what I really enjoyed. And that's what I think helped the show flow. And as for like you say, the tag team divisions, and you've got DIY and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I thought it was really good. It can only be good for wrestling and for the WWE if you've got these 3 hours and you can showcase the great talents that we've got there. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, mate. Again, I was just sitting there thinking, yeah, I didn't want to fast forward it. I didn't want to get up and walk out the room and just say, oh, I'll come back to this little bit. But yeah, it was good, mate. I enjoyed it. That will be the one that will go on Saturday night's main event. That'll be a match.
Possibly. Yeah, you could be right. Or something like the match that was next, which was Shinsuke Nakamura, LA Knight, which I was thoroughly enjoying up until the D. I didn't get the DQ. I know that Knight, kind of locked the Bloodline at one point out of the
Bloodline out
building.
the
So,
building, yeah.
yeah. So I kind of get it. I kind of get that bit. I didn't like, I don't know. It didn't sit well with me, the DQ. LA Knight was never going to win that title back straight away. It was never going to happen about it. But they did. They interfered. So it made sense storyline wise for LA Knight. But does this now become LA Knight getting embroiled in the bloodline bit where he come out the other week and said, I don't want nothing to do with it?
I think it'll be him getting involved for a couple of weeks leading up to the Rumble till like a Saturday night main event. You could easily have LA Knight, Cody, and Jay Uso, Jimmy Uso,
Yeah.
sorry, versus the New Bloodline as the main event, the Saturday night main
Yeah.
event. Easily, and that I'm including Solo in that. So I reckon that could possibly, and then Shinsuke will come down and something he could cost LA Knight getting a bit, and then you roll, and then into Rumble. I think LA Knight gets his rematch at the Rumble.
Okay.
That's what I think it happens. I don't know if he's. I don't know if we can wrestle and still be
Yeah, you
in
can
the
wrestle still.
Rumble,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that's what happens. Yeah, I was with you though. It's kind of like, look, I knew he was never going to win the match. I thought his pop was really good. I don't know if you
Yeah.
twigged that. I thought, wow, he's kind of what we were a couple of months ago. I thought the pop for LA Knight was really good. Love what they've done with Shinsuke. It's good to see another side to him. But yeah, I think that again, I think this is slowly now. You've got to just be a little bit patient now with resting over the next couple of weeks because you know
Mm.
they're getting into the whole right. We've got new-ish viewers on Raw. We've got these new people on SmackDown. Let's build it. I think this is where we're going to be in the next couple of weeks. I think Raw's going to be the more is a microphone and SmackDown's going to be more here's more wrestling. I mean, look at the ring on SmackDown. Not one bit of advertising in there. It was a
Yeah.
proper. It was what I call a proper wrestling show, mate. I loved it.
Yeah, and reinforced tables. The
Ah,
announce table.
Jesus Christ! Yeah, there were some bumps that weren't getting. There's going to be some sore people after that show, but yeah,
Just a
it
bit,
was
just a bit. But yeah, you're all right. I did like it proper. I didn't forgot to mention last week the referee shirts have changed as well.
changed. Yeah, they've gone to like the new color. Everything about WWE is very much it's on. They're always if you watch WWE now. Part like I said, that's why I like there was nothing in the ring. Raw was just like Jesus. I couldn't. It was Fortnite.
Like Adfest, wasn't it?
It was, but they're all about getting. It's all about branding. Everything me and you know from doing this and from what we've been doing for the last couple of years and what I do, everything's about getting your name out there somehow, some way. So everyone straight away went, "Oh, the referees, they're not in their usual zebra." Obviously, I know we had a referee on last week, and when he comes back, it'll be really interesting to get their views on what do they think of the referee changing. You know, what I mean, it's all part of where wrestling is in 2025, mate.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and I'm all for it. I don't know
Hmm?
about the ring or the Raw ring, but I'm definitely all
Oh,
for
I hope that ain't. I hope that just goes back to normal tonight. I'm
it. It
hoping that
won't.
was just for last week. Do you reckon it'll be fucking advertising city?
That's yeah. SmackDowns will get it soon enough. Once SmackDown is on Netflix properly, obviously, it's not for the US yet.
Yeah, when's that deal run out in the States? The TV deal. Do we know? Is it the end
I
of the
want to
year?
say this year. I
Yeah, I
want
think
to.
maybe that's
No, because
why.
they've recently gone to USA, haven't they? That was the
Yeah,
whole point of it. That
it's
was
probably a couple of years, maybe.
yeah, they went to USA because Raw was going to Netflix.
Hmm. So
So they could years,
yeah,
really, in a grander scheme of things. So hopefully we won't get it on SmackDown just yet.
no, no,
Anyway,
no.
we will get it at some point, I'm sure, unfortunately. We spoke about the guns earlier, A Town Down Under. I did like it because the teams were totally different in terms of style. You had the Guns' quickness and experience. Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, still a fucking tag team. Christ knows how that, considering last year we're talking about the split. They had the strength and, everything like that. And it was like a David versus Goliath kind of tag match. I will say this. I love Saban's sequence for a hot tag. It's brilliant. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. The sequence of it is fantastic. I love the fact that it was two contrasting styles that work so well. And what I will say about Grayson Waller is, for all of his faults, he sells like a motherfucker.
Oh, you can go. It was kind of like watching the Legion of Doom versus the Rockers. It was kind of on that ilk, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? That's where I kind of was with it. For anyone old enough to remember the Legion of Doom and the Rockers out there, kids. Yeah, no. Again, I'm surprised there's still a tag team. If you look back at it, we all thought that Austin Theory was getting the push. He won Money in the Bank, and then they had to get the briefcase off him, and that was ridiculous how that went down, and it was
Fury.
yeah, really stupid how
Yeah.
that happened. But yeah, again, I think this is where we're going to be with SmackDown. I think this is what they're going to get. This is what we're going to showcase. This is what you're going to see week after week, and it can only be good for the wrestlers. It can only be good for the product. Can only be good for the show. And again, it's kind of a storyline. I'm thinking Yeah, I'm interested in this. The tag team division, outside of what was quote unquote the main storyline with the bloodline, all that's now arced a little bit. The tag team division could be the one that piques most people's interest on SmackDown.
Yeah, as long as they get it right. I mean,
Yep.
that's half of the problem, is it? Getting it right is the issue. But I'm sure that they will. And you're right, tag team division, if they book it right, if it's like the old school tag teams that you mentioned Legion of Doom and Rockers there, if it's booked like that, as in not necessarily in that style, because it was contrast of styles, is what the point you were making was. But if it was booked like the way the tags are booked in the 80s and the 90s, that tag team division can flourish. But we'll
Yeah,
wait
tag
and
team
see.
division needs to main event show. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
needs to be. You look like you say. You just I know we briefly touched it, but you look at like LOD and the Heart Foundation and all that. Like the Heart Foundation. That's what Bret Hart got his break there. Shawn Michaels and the Rockers. No one ever would have thought. So there's still potential there now for if you're involved in a tag team that you could still easily you never know where you're going to be in 2 to 3 years in wrestling. Did anyone
No.
ever think when the Shield very first debuted that we'd all be sitting here talking about Roman Reigns being one of the greatest wrestlers, and I'm not talking maybe about in ring, but just his whole persona and what he's done for the
Yeah.
world of wrestling. You talk about eras and you talk about Cena and your Hogans and your Rocks and your Austins. Well, you've now got to include Roman Reigns in that, and that started in a tag team. So who's to say in 2 to 3 years' time we're not sitting here? And an Austin Theory is where Roman Reigns is now. People might think you're batshit crazy saying that. When the Shield first debuted, I never thought Seth Rollins would be where he was. I never thought that Dean Ambrose would have gone on, and now he's John Moxley in AEW. So you, this for me, this is this is where you really do your work and you get your character development. And if you, this is where you build it in a tag team, and I think it's great what they're doing.
Yeah, let's see how it goes. This was a bit of a controversial one. I know we messaged each other about it. Was the Tiffany Stratton
Oh fucking hell,
bit.
this was terrible.
Now, what I would say with Stratton was she hasn't fully turned face. She had lost a lot of her heel tendencies. There was still some there. Nia Jax coming out and calling her ungrateful little shit was priceless. I loved
Yeah,
that line. It ended up anyway with Bayley, Nia Jax, Bianca Belair, Naomi, and it ended up in a fatal four-way to crown a new number one contender. It was Naomi, it was Bianca, it was Bayley, it was Nia Jax. We did get, apart from some of the bits and pieces that you didn't like, an interesting bit here was when Bianca Belair went to whip the hair and she got Naomi. Now there's something there because Jade Cargill stuff's not quite finished yet. There's something. I still think Naomi's the one that took her out. It's either Naomi or Charlotte that took Jade out.
yeah. It makes sense if it was Naomi, then you can set something up and save Charlotte for a surprise entrant in the Rumble. I did. This was the only. This was probably the only part of SmackDown where I thought, eh, was all right. Don't get me wrong, Tiffy Time and all that got a great pop last week when she
Yeah.
cashed in. Promo wise, still needs it. It felt very. I'm not here to criticize bloody. I'm just a geezer with a microphone talking about wrestling, but it just felt very ploddy for me. It felt very like I'm going to say this, and then Nia Jax, you're going to say that, and then it felt very. It didn't feel very authentic. It felt very
Yeah.
like we've rehearsed this. This is what we've got to say. Look, I think she'll be a great women's champion. Obviously, Bayley winning the match and going on to become number one contender. She gets a title match on SmackDown next week.
Yeah.
That's maybe where you see someone come back. Or I think does Naomi and somehow get involved, and they'll evolve the storyline. Of course, they're going to evolve the storyline somehow. I just hope it's a little bit better than what I saw this week on SmackDown because I thought that segment was pretty shit, mate. If I'm honest,
Yeah, I didn't enjoy the interview segment. I did enjoy Nia Jax's in-ring work, though.
she's getting better.
Yeah, it was a lot
She's
of improvement and from what
Yeah,
we've seen in
she's
the
getting
past.
better, mate. She doesn't look like a walking pudding now. That's gonna, kind of cost someone like their career
Oh,
or
you know,
something. Am I allowed to say that? Oh, sure, WWE can say shit
walking,
like that. Sure. Walking.
walking pudding.
Yeah, she's getting better. That's all I'll say. She's not, she's not great. She's not
Oh,
terrible
you
anymore.
know.
She's not going to end it. Didn't look. Put it this way. It didn't look like she's going to end anyone's career anymore. So she's getting there. I
Oh,
won't say
man.
anymore because we're going to get
I've got to
cancelled.
try and finish the show now. I just can't.
Yeah, walking
You know
pudding.
when you saw like a Christmas pudding,
Yeah,
someone
that's it.
dressed up.
That's her. It's Nia Jax.
on. No, we've got to get out of it. Right, right, let's get on. Main event.
Yes.
It was Tamatonga, it was Jacob Fatu, it was Cody Rhodes, it was Jimmy Uso. Fatu and Tonga pick up actually the victory, which was quite surprising in a sense. I know Kevin Owens did come out and they ended up going through tables and whatnot. Um, Jacob Fatu, how long before that guy's champion?
Oh, great shout. Depends where they go with the whole Roman wants his title back from
Yeah.
Cody. If you've got any sense, it'll be soon-ish. Is it soonish? Pre-Mania, post-Mania? Not sure. If you really want a heel as your champion, I'd put it on him quick because I
Mhm.
think it'll be great. It depends if they want Cody and Roman again at Mania. Obviously, like you said, Heyman come out at the start of the show. Roman wants his title back. Yada yada. Do many people want to see that? Yes and no. I think it'd be interesting to get people's. Obviously, you can tweet us at HCT Buckle. It'd be interesting to get people's views on whether they want that.
Mm.
But yeah, I would put that. I would get him in the mix straight. Either as soon as Mania is done, when you hit the reset button, get him involved and go.
Yeah, interesting. It'd be
Where
interesting
was
to
the
see.
wing eagled belt, by the way? Why didn't Owens have it? What was the crack there? Did I miss something?
I don't know.
Oh,
I
I
was
thought I
ex
missed something.
no, I was expecting that myself. I didn't see it, so I was yeah, I was half expecting it. Maybe he's just going to just get the whole fucking show fighting that he didn't bother to bring it out. I don't
Yeah,
know.
true. Yeah.
Don't know. Talking of the Rumble, last week you gave me your final four, which is clipped onto the channel.
I saw that, sir. Yes.
By all means, clip it. I'm going to give you mine for the men's. I'm going to ask you a question at the end of it. My final four is slightly different. And now I'm kind of, we just mentioned Jacob Fatu, and I totally forgot that he may well be in that Rumble, and that's kind of threw me off from my final four. But I'm going to stick with the one that I put out this, well, the one that I thought of this morning, which I agree Cena, I agree
Hmm.
Punk, I agree Roman. I'm going Braun Breaker.
Oh, interesting.
Again, when you think of again like Jacob Fatu, and you're thinking, well, he's got to be, he's got to be in there, right? He's going to be there quite late on in there for sure. He may be one of those ones that when Cena comes out and he does those 5 or 6 quick eliminations, he
Hmm.
might be one that falls prey to that. Maybe I don't know, but and I didn't think of Jacobs. I was to put him in there, but I'm going to go with Braun Breaker, assuming he's in there. But the question I had for you is five. So 5 men and 5 women. Talk about potential returns, like surprises and call-ups. You don't have to be 5 call-ups, 5 surprises. It's five, and you can have 3 call-ups, 2 surprises, whatever. But on your men's, who's your 5 potential call-up surprises that you could see?
See, my call ups and surprise, I thought about this. I think it's going to be people that I reckon you could get a few TNAs.
I've got them in my head, yeah.
I don't know. I don't watch enough. I'm watching it, but I don't know enough of, oh my
Yep,
God, who's going to.
yep.
Joe Henry's obviously the obvious
He's
one.
on my
That
list.
that's
Yeah,
going to be, yeah,
yeah.
that's going to be a given. Moose would be one if they've got any
Interesting.
sense,
Hmm.
bearing in mind what's going on with him in TNA at the minute. Randy Orton.
Oh, this is a return. Yeah, yeah, I
As a,
can see.
yeah, and then you can pretty much take anyone from like NXT, Trick Williams, or all them kind of ilks. I think it's going to be throw them up in the air, and they're all going to be in it at some stage. So as a call ups, I think it's going to be because they've done it a lot with the women on the TNA side of things with WWE. Joe Henry a little bit with NXT, but if you've done it like something like Moose, what would be really good if they do it? Obviously, different names in TNA. I
Mhm.
thought about this. Dolph Ziggler.
Oh, Nemeth. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That'd be
That
interesting.
would be interesting because of the whole relationship now. He's got the title right in TNA. Does he come out with the belt on like WWE TV? Is he, does he do something in the Rumble? You could potentially, he could eliminate, if they do the whole TNA thing, you could incorporate the storyline that he's got going on in TNA. And that's a little nod to them to make people to want to watch Impact the following week coming up. So for the men's side, that's what I think will happen, but not sure on who, where, what, why, how. Never know
You,
with the Rumble.
no,
Never
you
know with the
don't.
Rumble.
That is
So
the
for
point.
the last 2 years, it's been like people have been like, oh, call ups were a bit shit. Do they somehow, does he pull a rabbit out of the hat and negotiate? Because I know they tried to get him for Raw, and apparently, again, this is all what we read online. This could be complete bullshit. Do they get Stone Cold Steve Austin in the Rumble?
I know that Austin wants Punk, or Punk wants Austin.
Yeah, because
That's
they couldn't
that's
agree. Apparently, bearing in mind that Paul Levesque got Punk and him together, and apparently it was all over money. Now, take that with a pinch of salt because Steve Austin doesn't need any money.
yeah.
He's happily sitting out in his ranch in Texas, just chilling. Um, is that a big curveball that they throw into the Rumble and put Austin in it? And again, is The Rock a massive curveball? Is it one of the biggest curveballs we've ever seen in professional wrestling? And he's in the Rumble. So, yeah, I honestly, I can't. I've given up trying to guess
It
that.
could be. I'm going to go with my five. There's a couple. I threw a couple of curveballs in there myself. Actually, I agree with Joe Hendry. I
Hmm.
absolutely. That's. I think that is a
That's a
given.
given, I think.
That is
Yeah.
near
Isn't
enough a
he going
given.
full time with WWE? I've
He's
heard.
contracted through 2025 with TNA,
Right.
so it
Okay.
won't be. But I think a lot of the reaction's going to be key to that
Yeah,
if
because
he gets a big pop. Then
he got a big-ish pop when he
yeah,
done what he done the back end of 2024. I just hope he did. I hope he's not in the old style. I mean, I won't cut. I know
that's right.
for me, he's just very much LA 90. He's like,
Hmm.
is he?
We'll
Won't he?
see.
Will he? Won't he? Yeah, we'll see, mate.
We'll see. So I'm going to go him. So
Mm-hmm.
Joe Hendrick, definitely.
Yep.
Obafembi, NXT
Ooh,
champ, new NXT
put him in
champion.
over Femi Martin there, the guy that used to play for.
Not quite. So Hendry Obafembi. I'm gonna go Josh Alexander because
Ooh,
his contract is up with TNA. I think he's done it. I think his
done,
last
isn't it? Yeah,
match,
I was going to saw something online.
is gonna be, I think, Genesis.
Genesis. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
the
advertised
week
for
before.
Genesis.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
is. He's got a match with Mike Santana.
Yep.
So
See,
that's
I
that.
am watching. I'm
You are
learning,
watching.
mate.
Yeah,
I'm
well
watching
done. Yeah,
reviews. See.
yeah. You're watching it. So that's free. Ah, I did have it. Now I've forgotten. Fuck. Trick Williams is four, and
Hmm.
my one from left field a little bit. And we were speaking about the guy last week, Jeff Hardy.
Oh, fucking hell. One more roll of the dice for Mr. Hardy, eh?
Well, he's tag champion at the minute,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. The other interesting thing was I don't think they've ever had a match with the Motor City Machine Guns.
How would they not? What?
I don't think so.
I don't know why I talk like that.
I don't know. Was your nuts being squeezed? What?
Oh, interesting. Yeah, no. What? Do you know what? Is it one of them? No, I don't want to. Are we going to get that match too late? Does anyone?
Yeah, I think the match would be too late.
It's very Mayweather Pacquiao.
Yeah, it will be if we ever did. I just think Jeff Hardy in the Rumble.
Oh, yeah, could do a few good spots. Can he still? You
Yeah,
watch a lot more TNA with me. How can he still go? Can he still?
yeah, he's still, very much Jeff
Okay.
Hardy, as we know. So I would definitely assume that would be the case. I mean, Malachi Black, it depends on when he's contracted. 'Cause obviously, the Royal Rumble's February the 1st. I don't
Mhm.
think it's that early to
He's
say
got
that.
like a no, not
No, his
allowed to.
contract finished. He won't have a 90 days. It will be his
Okay.
contract
Oh,
finishes.
yeah, his contract's up. That's the point. Yeah. Why not? It'd be interesting to
If it
see.
is, then potentially him. But
Yeah.
I didn't want to go down that route because I felt as if it would be too soon. And it
Hmm.
is difficult if you debut. Look at Naomi. She come back at the Royal Rumble last year. She done fuck all for 6 months because
Yeah,
the
and the pop
storylines
wasn't.
were already
Yeah, and
planned out.
the reaction wasn't great either
But
for
speaking of the
her.
women,
Mm-hmm.
your five. I've got a very interesting pick on this.
Have you? So I think the obvious ones are going to be Charlotte and Becky.
Okay.
Going to be in the
I
Rumble.
haven't put Charlotte in there, I don't think.
Have you not?
No.
Okay. And again, this is anyone from NXT. I reckon. So you've got to pack out the Rumble. But yeah, I do reckon Charlotte, Becky. I still think Trish Stratus has got something.
I had her on my list this morning.
I still think there's something brewing there with Trish. So that'll be my main three, and then you can pick two from NXT for me.
All
That'll be
right.
my main three. I'm interested to see who the fuck you're going to put in it now.
I will tell you, there's one name in there, and I'm going to tell you why I think it's a bit of fantasy booking, but I'll get into it. So I got Jordan Grace in
Yeah, I think that's a given.
TNA.
Yep,
Contract's up. She's done after
done well
Genesis as
last year.
well. She's done after Genesis. It's a walking
Yep,
wet dream for WWE, that one, isn't it? It's obvious, that one.
walking wet
It
dream.
is. You picture somebody that WWE, like the only, and this isn't. It's the fact that she's not tall. She's got that build, but she's like 5'3".
China-esque but smaller.
Yeah, literally,
Mm,
literally that. Yeah.
probably a better
She's got.
wrestler. Don't mean that
Oh,
horribly.
yeah. She's
Yeah.
yeah, much better. Julia from NXT.
Oh, okay.
Cora Jade from
Yep.
NXT. Either her or Roxanne Perez, one of the
Roxanne.
two.
Oh, yeah, I think that's what I'm saying. I reckon you could throw
Yeah,
it up in the air
throw it
again a
up in the
bit.
air with that.
Yeah.
What Nikki Bella? I
Hmm.
know her neck, but Rumble ain't going to be too difficult to,
I think I know where you're going with this.
AJ Lee.
I know that. Yep, that's right. Yeah.
And I tell you what, my fantasy booking from this is either she prevents Becky from winning the Rumble, or Becky's 29, she's 30. Becky eliminates her, and then at elimination, Becky goes on to win the Rumble, and at
Hmm.
Elimination Chamber, you get Becky and Seth versus Punk and AJ Lee.
Oh, yes. I like it, my friend. I like it. Yeah, I did think I had potentially wanted to put AJ on my list. I'm thinking, mate, yeah, mate, I think you hit the nail on the bloody head there, mate. I think if that happens, mate, kudos. Clip yourself and give yourself a pat on the back, my friend.
I'll clip the Jeff Hardy and
Yeah.
the AJ Lee
Yeah.
bit. I
Yeah,
maybe
mate. Yeah,
even
great shout. Great. Yeah, because
um,
obviously you saw her on Raw and stuff like that. But yeah, no, great shout, mate.
interesting times. We will find out. Raw is just on in a few hours.
Yes, sir.
But look at a little Dickie Bird tells me, and you talked about it earlier. You had a little debut today.
Yeah, so launched just a little side hustle show called Completed It. Just interviewing if you like your movies, if you like your TV, sprinkling of sport and wrestling maybe every now and again, but try and save that for here. Yeah, interviewed Luke today, who runs a YouTube channel just talking all things DC comics, DC, Superman, etc. So if you like all your superheroes and your TV shows, and yeah, completed it. Just type in completed it into YouTube on audio on Spot, all the usual jazz. But yeah, interviewing a guy called Tim Russ later tonight for you Star Trek fans out there. Played Tuvok on Star Trek Voyager. If you remember the little kid that lifted up the car at the start of the Superman movie, he's now in his 50s. I'm interviewing him later in the week. So yeah, it's going to be all good things like that, mate. So yeah, just a little something. I've just always wanted to. I love my movies. I love my TV. So yeah, just thought why not just sit down. I can block record them, so I can record like three. Everyone's like, oh, do you have the time? I just record 3 or 4 in a day and release
Right.
them
Bosh.
on a Monday. Yeah, done. But
It's a
yeah,
bit like
completed
it's
it
a
pod,
bit
mate.
it's a bit like completed it pod. Go and see that. It's go
Yeah,
and view it. Go and subscribe to it. YouTube, as Andy said,
all that
anywhere,
jazz. Yeah,
anywhere,
mate.
anywhere, and
Anyway,
everywhere. It's a bit like the Independent Showcase series. Actually, I've recorded 3 or 4 of those in a day. The going out. Tomorrow, for example, like we're going to be interviewing tomorrow. We mentioned his name
okay,
earlier on.
yes.
I mean, what a name to go back to the future, like back to the future, back into the past when we were growing up, prime time wrestling. He's coming over here for the love of wrestling. He's got a new figure coming out. Mr. Sean Mooney, we're going to be interviewing tomorrow.
Oh,
That's going to be
dude,
brilliant, mate.
mate. What I honestly, this is why me and you are huge wrestling marks. It's why we're fans. We grew up with this guy. We've been so fortunate doing what we do. We've interviewed and met some of our childhood heroes.
Yep.
He's up there. For those that watch now, if you think that you've got the Michael Coles and the Corey Grays, well, he was them before they were them, kind of thing. He
Mhm.
was inside the WWF. He used to do all that. Some of the
Yep.
skits that he done with Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan, and can't wait to get his opinion on what it was like to work with the late great Bobby Heenan, Mean Gene Oakland. He's in that ilk, mate. He's just one of the voices of our childhood.
Yep, definitely. So I can't wait for that. A little bit later on tomorrow night, though, I'm recording another independent showcase. This is a not I think he's a Nottinghamshire-based wrestler called Adam Bolt. That'll be coming up. Hollywood Haley J from the Wrestlers is going to be an NWA showcase. Coincidentally, the day after she performs on NWA Power, so me and Fee will have that. I got someone from BodySlam.net coming on in a couple of weeks. His name's Gerard. He'll be coming on as a bit of a crossover. One guest I can't name yet.
I
I
know
gave us.
who it is. I know who
You know
it
who
is.
it is.
Yeah, I do.
And I did give a little inkling on socials of who it is. We're just waiting for the drop of the time, the date and the time. Once we've got that, I will put it out there. But suffice to say, Andy, in terms of names, one of
Oh,
the biggest,
smoking. Unbelievable.
literally,
Yeah.
names in that. But obviously, we'll be back to do some Raw this week as well.
Yes, mate, back on Wednesday.
Back on Wednesday for some Raw. But guys, until then, you can check us out, HTT Buckle on X, HTT Buckle on YouTube, Hitting the Turnbuckle Podcast on Instagram, and on Hitting the Turnbuckle Podcast, I think something like that, on TikTok. Just announced the #1 contenders match for our championship coming up on February the 4th at Ignite. Go and watch that. Go and get your tickets for that.
See you there.
See you there, my friend. And we'll see you tomorrow for
Yes.
our escapade with Sean Mooney. And we'll see you guys another time soon. But until then, everybody, buckle down, stay safe, and good night.